If you're a young family or first-time buyer or whether single, whatever, if you're looking for your first house, there are a few things that you really want to have in place. It's really important that you figure out your financials. I would do that before you go start looking at houses. A lot of people start looking at houses and then they go to the bank, and sometimes they get really disappointed by not being able to afford what it is that they had hoped that they could buy. So I always encourage people, especially, if they're kind of new, you need to have been in your job for a minimum of 2 years with a consistent salary before the bank will even take your salary into consideration. So that's one thing. So if you've just switched jobs, or you just got a new job, or you've just, kind of left university or college and you're starting out, you want that kind of 2-year window before they'll take that salary into consideration. So that's important to know. But also get the bank to give you kind of a pre-approval. They'll pre-approve you for a certain amount, and then you want to stay within that amount when you're out looking for houses. If you are going to get a loan from your parents or your grandparents or whomever, then you also need to have that money in the bank for 6 months prior to closing. So that's, again, something that a lot of people aren't aware of. So it's important to talk to your mortgage person, find out all those rules from them so that you're really well prepared. So when you find that perfect house, you're ready to go. I'll tell you a story. I have a condo for sale, and someone just came and put an offer in on it. So it's my listing, it was not my buyer. But so we did all the stuff, and then one of the conditions was financing. She had not even been to the bank yet. She had no idea what she could afford, went to the bank, and the whole deal fell apart because she could not afford the cost of that place. So I totally get how disappointing and disheartening and frustrating that would be. So just do your homework beforehand. Another tip, when you're getting a mortgage, they're going to pre-approve you. So 2 things. They're going to pre-approve you for a certain amount, right? So let's say you're pre-approved for $500,000. You find a house, it's $500,000. Before the bank gives their final stamp of okay, they're going to go in and do an assessment of that house. Sometimes they go through, sometimes they get the agent to send them pictures, but they're going to look at comparables, they're going to look at a whole bunch of things. If their assessed price doesn't match the price that you just paid for it or have your offer in for, they're going to require you to pay the difference on top of your deposit. So let's say it's $500,000, you're putting down a 10% deposit, so that's $50,000. If it assesses at $480 instead of $500, you're now not going to need $50,000, you're going to need $70,000 to make up the difference between their assessment and the actual purchase price. So that's a really important thing for you to be aware of, which is why they will always encourage you, especially if you're really tight to that number, that you have a financing clause, a conditional financing clause in your offer. It just really protects you. So keep that in mind when you're making offers. It's partly why I'm really happy that we're out of that whole craziness that happened for a couple of years where people were going in with no conditions, because a lot of people were getting burned on that. Another thing to remember, if you've put in an offer in a house and you're going to get a mortgage, is they've pre-approved you for your amount. They've done their assessment. Everything's good to go. Do not make a major purchase between now and when that house closes. If you buy a car, if you take out a loan, if you pay student, whatever, if you do anything that's a whole bunch of money, suddenly that changes the amount that the bank will approve you for. They're going to do an additional pre-approval right before closing, like within a week or 2, depending on your bank, before closing. And if your financial situation is different, the amount of money they're willing to give you could be different as well. I haven't had that experience myself, but I know of an agent who she had a woman lose a house right before closing because she went out and bought a car. So just keep that in mind. Buy your car after it closes.